I'm very excited to talk to Dr. Bernard Harris Jr. today, former NASA astronaut, the first black man to walk in outer space. That's awesome. I want to say congratulations on the recent milestone anniversary, 30 years, and then also your upcoming induction into the NASA Hall of Fame.
Well, Genoa, thank you so much for inviting me on the show today. Also, want to commend you for all the research you did. You know, the 30 years in the program and 30 years the spacewalk and also the Astronaut Hall of Fame. It's amazing. I'm just sort of all of this has come about in the last 3 to 4 weeks. Just all kind of came together, and it has been overwhelmingly exciting to have all of this culminate this way. Your question about what was it like to be in space? It was incredible. Um, One of the things as an astronaut, we want to go into space first, and I've been on 2 missions, and that first mission is pretty remarkable. I can come back to that later and share that with the audience. But the spacewalk, we donned this 350-pound suit, this white suit that most people have seen, called an EVA suit or extravehicular activity suit. And it's big and bulky. Of course, doesn't weigh anything in space. And when you open up the hatch to go outside, it is eye-opening from the standpoint that, at that point we had been in space for, more than 4 days, but it was something about opening up the hatch to the earth below. It felt like I was falling, like I was going to fall to the earth. So I first had to overcome that.
Can you talk a little bit about, dreaming and, seeing, the possibilities? I mean, who dreams says, okay, I'm going to outer space?
This 13-year-old kid did on the Navajo Nation, watching Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin land on the moon. And when they landed on the moon, I looked at that black and white television and I said, I want to do that. I want to go to the moon. I want to be an astronaut. Um, I always like to remind people that that's in the 60s, right after the civil rights movement. And so on that same black and white television, I could see some of the greatest feats of humankind, but also turn the channel and see the struggles that we were having as Black people in this country. And so to have had that as a dream and held on that for many years and then be able to fulfill that dream, that's the story that I tell young people, no matter what communities that they're from, that if I can do that, they can too.
You're a champion for STEM education as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
And so we created a program called Dare to Dream to instill in them the value of having goals and setting goals. But more importantly, how they accomplish that goal is through education. And in this day, in the 21st century, where technology drives everything that we do, it's about STEM education and high quality STEM education. And that's important.
The first, African American man to walk his space. You can't take that away from you. That happened, right? But now there's pushback to say you can't even, in a lot of spaces, they frown upon saying that. There's been removal of some Tuskegee Airmen information, World War II, African Americans' participation in that. So do you fear erasure?
So let me answer the question this way. I consider myself here because of affirmative action from years ago, right?
Sure.
When there was an outreach to those of us who were qualified to go to medical school and law school and to teach and all that sort of thing, but weren't given the opportunity. And so when given the opportunity, the result is me. You're looking at it. In fact, today I was talking to a young man that was from Kenya that was establishing a STEM program in Kenya because he saw the same need that they have, for that country. But I talk to students in secondary education. I talk to college students. I talk to young adults about why education and how to move forward. And in fact, that is one of the reasons why I wrote the book, Embracing Infinite Possibilities, It's because I wanted to share my story and do it in a way to emphasize the things that you need to do to move forward in life.
Can you hold up the book?
I can. Yeah, got it right here. I actually have it behind me too, but I got it right here.
Yes.
Can you see that?
Yeah, it is a little glare, but yeah, I
It's a
can
little
see that.
glare.
Say
Let me
the
bring it
names.
down. There we go. So
Say the, say
embracing infinite possibilities. And so
infinite
in this,
possibilities. So, what do
yeah,
you want people to walk away from that?
in the
From
subtitle, which is equally important, it is letting go of fear to find your highest potential. So for me, it's about finding your highest potential. And how do you do that? Number one, you have to realize who you are. So spend the time to figure out who am I and what am I about.
30 years after your spacewalk, you went into space twice.
Yeah.
That's another something that doesn't happen, all the time. But this Hall of Fame, what do you want that to mean, and what does that mean to you?
So it's very special to be selected to the U.S. Astronaut Hall of Fame. In part, I'm selected because of what I've done in space. The being the crew medical officer on both my missions, some of the medical first that I did as a physician in space, along with the spacewalk, and just contributing to the whole space program, I felt very honored, and to be recognized for that is has been great, and I'm really honored. But it also is about your entire life, about your accomplishments, the things that I've done after, you know, being an astronaut for me, using that platform of being an astronaut and being a physician to go into communities all around this nation, in fact, all around the world, and talk about why it's important. Why is it STEM education important? Why is dreams important? Why are you important? But the other point I
Go
want to
ahead.
make is that we as Black people have been involved with space for a long time, since the very beginning, right? We were some of the first mathematicians, some of
Hidden
the first
Figures.
astronomers, right? All came from the continent of Africa. So we should be proud. This is not anything new. This is just us, living our our inheritance in a sense, right? This is
Beautifully
this
said.
is I'm just following through what my forefathers and mothers laid down before me. That foundation that allows me now, instead of being on Earth and looking up toward the heavens, actually being able to lift off into the heavens. And I'll share with you a story. And this was Jesse Jackson called me after I come back from my mission where I'd done the spacewalk, and he then said, "Then let's pray," because he is a minister. So, and part of his prayer is stuck with me these 30 years. He says, "Lord, thank you for taking us from the slave ship to the spaceship." And it was remarkable. Now I kind of giggled at that in my mind, going like, only Jesse Jackson can put those two things together. But it was relevant to where we are and where I was at the time. We have in this country gone from being slaves to now being major contributors to what we consider to be the American way now. And I'm so pleased and proud to be part of that.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Um, People would naturally say that I want my legacy to be, if they look at my background, physician, astronaut, venture capitalist, giving back. And I think my legacy is that I want to make sure that I leave the world better than when I arrived, right?
You're
And
right. That's
I
what we
want to
all say,
make
Pat.
sure that I create an environment that allows the potential of others to blossom, to grow. One of the things I do want to say this to your audience. It is important for us as we go forward, where there will be this new space economy, where we'll be having orbiting platforms and we'll be having colonies on the moon. A whole ecosystem is going to be produced between the Earth, low Earth orbit, and the moon, and later Mars. I want to make sure that all of us are equal participants in that potential money. It's a reason why you have billionaires, very wealthy people investing in this, because they see the opportunity. And so I want to make sure that our community also takes advantage of that opportunity.
There will be black people on the moon.
Next year.
Thank you again, Dr. Harris, for sharing insights from your stellar career and dedicating, as I said before, your life to inspiring future generations. It's been an honor. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Genoa.